if you've started to notice a decline, like a drop off in your existing clients base right now, it could be as a result of some of these reasons I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, I'm not only going to be sharing common reasons why this is happening in your business, I'm also going to be sharing with you strategies in which you're able to navigate through all of these reasons. Okay, now most of the time it could be as a result of poor communication, right? Now, if you have a certain number of clients and for some reason you see that they decided to drop off, maybe in your coaching program, no one is saying anything and they're just dropping off. It could be as a result of lack of regular, clear communication, and maybe the clients start to feel neglected. You have, most times I see this in group programs, especially because, there are loads of people in the group. And so when some of the clients start to feel like they're neglected, start to feel like maybe they've lost touch of what's happening, or they start to feel like, I can't even follow up anymore, right? Now that's a problem. They might start to drop off. And sometimes you might not even realize when they start to drop off until you be like, oh, no one is here anymore, right? Now you want to be very intentional, because this can be a problem, especially when you have like a group program. Sometimes you start to feel like you're paying attention to some other persons and not paying attention to them. Now, also, I've noticed that some people start to feel dissatisfied. Those Facebook groups, yes, LinkedIn groups, all them groups, when you have those communities, right, it's more likely that you see this. Now that we know that this can happen, what's the solution? My goal is not just to come here and tell you, okay, this is the problem. My goal is to let you know and see for yourself why this is happening and what you should do. Now, in this scenario, poor communication, right? What do we want to do? We want to be sure that we're able to implement regular updates, personalize some of the conversations you have. Now, if you have your group programs in a Facebook group, for example, you want to incorporate the email campaigns as well, because that way you're able to personalize, several of the communication and what you do. Also, you can also incorporate, phone calls, text messages. That way you're able to personalize most of the conversation. You can leverage emails like project updates, project development, project status, payments, this, that, just make it creative so that you're able to guide them through that loop. Now, if you have some programs that are really long programs, your clients might get lost. And when they get lost, they might start to drop off, because obviously I'm like, where do I start from? I'm lost. Now you want to keep them updated. You also want to give them access, a bit of access, right? So make sure that your program is a bit flexible, so that you're able to give them a level of access, especially when they have questions, okay? I have heard of certain coaches have programs that be like, oh, you can't get to speak to me, you have to upgrade to be able to speak to me. Like, if they can't speak to you, they should be able to speak to a bot, for example, right? At least somebody, or, someone, or maybe a robot that can respond to their frequently asked questions. Or you get a VA. Think about ways that you are able to meet them where they are without necessarily, if anybody pays you $5 and you accept the $5, it's important that you respect that $5 because it was paid and you asked for it, right? That's the price. And they paid the price and you accepted. The best thing you can just do is help them work through the program, right? Be support, like you want to provide them with that support. It doesn't necessarily have to be you, right? You can always figure out, communication. Earlier I talked about personalized communication. It's important that we start to tailor our communication style to, specific people, the preferences, right? Some other things that, especially for us who have our programs in Facebook groups, you can start to maybe go live, give them opportunity to have that chance to ask questions or even speak to you, right? You can try to incorporate that. Now, if it's not going to work for you, it is important that we stop creating programs that we do not align with. So many of us create these programs and we do not even feel comfortable with the programs because we feel, oh, these people are not paying. If you feel like the price is not what they access. Please fix it. Sometimes the reasons why we lose the clients that we get is because we also are not satisfied, or maybe we feel like, oh, these people are taking more than they paid for, right? Put in those boundaries. If you need to restructure your pricing, hey, that's why you're a business owner. You can restructure your price whenever you want to restructure the price. And then you communicate it to them to say, oh, this is what the price is, right? But as long as you collect and you accept that payment, it is important that you respect these people and give them the kind of audience. Another reason why there could be like a drop in maybe your existing clients could actually be unmet expectations. Now, you might have a certain kind of expectation. Your clients might have a certain kind of expectation. Now, if your clients feel that maybe the services or the product, for example, that they receive do not go with or align with what was promised, or what they expect, your clients feel that maybe the services or the products that they receive do not align, what you want to do is be intentional. What you want to do is set clear expectations. Now, from the very onset, you want to clearly communicate to your clients what the expectations are, like terms of deliverables, what they're going to get, their timelines, their outcomes, all of it. Like, break it down. You should have your onboarding, in your onboarding process, you should have your onboarding emails, your onboarding messages, and all of that. Aside from the onboarding email that you send out, you should also put it in the contract, okay? You have to make sure that your clients know what they are getting from the very beginning, right? Every single one of your clients should be treated as VIP regardless of how much they pay you. When people pay you, respect it, right? If they need to ask questions, let them ask. Now, you can save yourself the back and forth of a question by creating for yourself maybe a frequently asked questions as regards to it. So you have that automated so that you are not, because I know sometimes some people would say that the questions can be very annoying, right? Now, if you feel like those questions will get you agitated, automate those frequently asked questions, especially when it comes down to the payment, the deliverables, and all of that. You can always automate that so that it can go. So, receiving and also giving clients feedback, right? And then you also maybe give them response or even act on it. Now, another common reason that I have seen that could actually be the reason why your existing clients, like, numbers are dropping, could be the perceived value, right? Like perceived lack of value. It's important, right? When they start to perceive that the value they used to get has started to drop. When they start to feel like the value of the services outweighs the cost, there is a problem. The goal behind, or rather the smart way for you to increase your clientele is for you to more or less over deliver. I'm not saying cut off your neck. I'm saying always exceed the expectations. Now, this is not for you to sign up a client for 6 months or for 1 year, and then over time, the perceived value starts to diminish, right? Or maybe over time, they just realize that it's no longer there. Like the sauce you used to give them, all of it is no longer there. Now, one way you can work around this and solve this particular problem is regularly demonstrate value. Okay, this is very important. You want to regularly remind your clients of the value that you provide. Okay, and when I say value, I mean, be there, be present. Keep them updated with the status of what they have going on, and all of that. Case studies as well, as they go, right? Always find a way of bringing them back. Always find a way of helping them feel as excited as when they started. The longer the program, I don't know, but for me, I feel like the longer the program, the more tiring it could be. Let me give you an example. Personally, when I was testing the Systems Academy, I actually felt like it was going to be very, like the 3 months we did for me was so long. It felt so long. However, I realized that there's no way I'm able to cover like the way I want to cover those systems. There's no way I'm able to cover those 6 systems in just 3 months. Like, For me, I'm like, what's now the difference? It's just going to be me just teaching and then no implementation, or rather it wouldn't feel like the way I want them to implement it. So I said, personally, it feels long to make it like 6 months, but I said, okay, how can I make it in such a way that, you know, it's not overwhelming for me, right? And it doesn't feel boring for me. Since I have 6 months, right, then I have 6 different systems. So for every single month, we're doing something different and exciting. Meaning this month we're excited about a different kind of system. So we are focusing on that system because I know I will get bored, right? Now, because I feel like I will get bored, I'm only imagining what the next person is going to feel, right? So what I then decided to do is every single month we're doing a different kind of system. So we're like very into this system. When we're done with it, obviously you have your recording, you have all of that. If I'm going to create more materials, you have it there. So you can always go back to it at your own convenience. The group is available. You can always ask questions. But the next month we're doing something different and exciting, right? It's still under like the systems build and blah, 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 but it's different. And as long as I'm excited, right, I feel like every other person around me is excited. Trust me, when I started to feel like I'm bored, you will start to feel like you're bored. My husband used to say that. My energy, translates to him as well, right? So when I start to feel bored about something, oh my gosh, no, I won't do that switch, right? And because I know that this is who I am, you know, most times I use myself to try to feel how others will feel. So personally, when I start to feel bored, I'm like, that means this person might be feeling bored, right? And so I want to switch it. So to make it interesting for me, I decided to do it that way so that for every single month, I'm excited about something different. Now, not everybody can be like TC. Not everybody can be. There's some people, you know, some people can go like 1 year, 6 months doing the same thing and they're not bored, you know, and they're fine with it. That's their life, you know, they like the routine. I can't do that. I can't survive with that. I will just go out of my mind, right? Because it's boring. So because I don't do boring, in my head, I'm thinking every other person else will not want to do boring. That brings me to my second point of ways that you can help them perceive this value, help them feel refreshed, okay? Especially when you're doing long programs, right? You want to find a way of adjusting your offerings. You see, sometimes the product or the service is not a problem. The name is a problem. You know, there's some names that are actually very boring. And so just saying it, you know, so you can switch the names, right? Sometimes it could be the names. Sometimes it could be something. So you can adjust your offering. It's still the same. It's still the same deliverables. It's still the same thing. But, you know, be creative. Make it fun. When it comes down to adjusting your offerings, you want to stay adaptable, okay? You want to be flexible. You want to consider updating or maybe tailoring your services to serve your people better, right? Now, your audience, their needs evolve. It might not necessarily change. You know, evolving and change, 2 different things, right? Now, their needs might evolve. It might not necessarily change. Now, what you want to do is, as their needs evolve, you want to also evolve with them, with your offering. Now, it's the same offer, you're just evolving, right? So that you're able to meet them at the level where they are. Because the longer your program, the more likely that people get tired. Once you're able to address these areas, you're not perfect, but you see, your structure can make you seem perfect. Once you're able to figure out all of this, you're able to walk around it. I know too well, and I promise you that you're able to start to see that difference in your client retention rates. Okay? So yes, that's it from me today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And if you are watching the replay, thank you as well. If you have any questions about your client retention system, your client retention strategy, just please put it in the comment section and I would pick it up. God's willing. Bye.